Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving into the exact framework that top service brands use to engineer predictable growth and finally stop relying on guesswork. You know, it seems like every service-based brand hits the exact same wall eventually. The website looks fantastic, the blog has this really healthy archive, but revenue just refuses to move in a straight line.
So let's just address the elephant in the room. It's a question that absolutely frustrates so many B2B service founders who have a polished brand but totally flatlining lead generation. Why does a full content calendar rarely equal predictable revenue? Well, what usually happens is that leads arrive in these unpredictable bursts, the sales team complains that the marketing leads just don't convert, and the content team, they keep publishing without ever really knowing which piece actually influenced a closed deal. We call this the guesswork trap, and we absolutely need to fix it.
To get us out of that trap, we're going to unpack this entire operational process into 5 neat, logical categories. 1. The guesswork trap. 2. The predictive analytics audit. 3. Engineering the content roadmap. 4. Bridging authority to acquisition. And 5. Becoming a category leader.
All right, let's jump right into section 1, the guesswork trap, and exactly why traditional content fails today.
There is such a stark contrast between managing mere creative output versus actually managing revenue-driven outcomes. Traditional content calendars are usually built around what simply feels relevant, or maybe what a competitor just posted. It's output-driven, it's intuition-led, and ultimately, it's just a guessing game. But a predictive analytics approach, that is outcome-driven. It's built on data-backed precision. It is literally the difference between blindly hoping for authority and engineering a highly tuned system that pulls in qualified leads.
And look, if your current strategy is failing, it's probably not because of a lack of effort. It's because of 3 massive structural shifts in how buyers use search as we head into 2026. First up, AI-generated summaries are intercepting clicks right at the source, meaning your generic informational content just doesn't reliably drive traffic anymore. Second, buyer research cycles are getting shorter and way more fragmented across multiple tools in a single session. And third, publishing volume has become a completely commoditized baseline. Everyone is producing content now, so sheer output is no longer a differentiator. Precision and relevance are what actually move the needle.
So how do we fix it? That brings us to section 2, the Predictive Analytics Audit, where we mine your historical data. We treat this phase exactly like a diagnostic physical exam before prescribing any kind of treatment.
Here's the crucial shift. Before a single new brief is written, you have to flip from a creative-first mindset to a data-first mindset. A creative-first approach asks, hey, what story do we want to tell? But a data-first approach asks a much better question. What is the market already telling us it wants, and where is the highest value gap we can fill? Every single decision you make needs to trace back to a validated signal.
Just think about how powerful this gets when you stitch it all together. Search Console proves that the demand actually exists, while your CRM notes give you the exact language your sales team is hearing from prospects. When you combine those insights with on-site analytics and historical conversions, you can isolate exactly which formats hold attention and carry real revenue weight. Competitor gaps then surface all that untapped demand. This is how you weaponize your historical engagement to stop wasting budget on cold leads and start acting on actual buyer signals.
Next, we classify all those queries into 4 tiers of search intent: awareness, consideration, decision, and retention. Now, most stagnant brands overinvest heavily in that first step, awareness. They chase those high-volume, low-conversion searches. But a predictive audit deliberately overweights your investment toward the crucial decision and retention tiers. Those might be lower volume, but they are incredibly high-intent searches where your actual buyers are waiting with their wallets open.
All right, with the audit complete, it is time to build. Let's move to section 3, engineering the content roadmap, turning that raw data into real assets.
This is exactly how you transform a standard editorial calendar into a compounding asset library. It's a 5-step process. First, you validate the signal. Second, you design the architecture to match it. Third, you produce and internally link the asset into your ecosystem. Fourth, you sequence its distribution. And finally, performance tagging, which feeds right back into step 1. It's a beautiful closed-loop system where you aren't just making disposable posts, you're building permanent infrastructure. Now, I want to pause on that second phase, asset architecture, because it is absolutely vital. Format matching is a massive conversion lever. You literally have to match the format of your asset directly to the buyer's intent tier. A really common mistake is packaging a detailed, decision tier topic as a snappy little listicle instead of a structured comparison page. At the decision stage, a buyer wants to carefully evaluate their options, not skim a summary. This proves that format isn't just an aesthetic choice, it dictates whether or not that page converts.
Okay, so we've engineered a brilliant roadmap. Let's hit Section 4, Bridging Authority to Acquisition, connecting marketing directly to sales.
When a fractional CMO steps in, the entire operational machine shifts. Instead of a traditional setup with siloed, calendar-driven guesswork, you get a unified acquisition system. Content planning is driven by actual buyer signals, intent data is shared continuously with your sales team, and everything is tethered to real revenue metrics. The iteration speed becomes this continuous, fast-paced loop, which is the total opposite of the old way that just leaves your sales teams guessing and frankly frustrated.
Which brings us to a really crucial point: prioritizing assisted conversions. Instead of obsessing over vanity metrics like impressions or simple traffic growth, assisted conversion tracking measures exactly which pieces of content appeared in a prospect's journey right up to a closed deal. This means bridging the gap between your content managers and your CRM, and honestly, it is the only real way to know what is actually earning its keep.
Which finally leads us to our ultimate goal, Section 5, becoming a category leader and creating an unassailable moat around your business.
Now, what's really interesting here is that this progression to category leadership does not happen through sheer publishing volume. It happens in 3 distinct phases. First, stabilization, where you correct misallocated spend and immediately start seeing a better pipeline. Second, compounding, where your highly linked assets begin to dominate decision-tier organic terms. And third, category ownership. This is the sweet spot where competitors are actually citing your content, prospects show up already educated, and your sales cycles shorten drastically. Your competitors literally cannot replicate the proprietary data model driving this engine. Which leaves us with this absolutely vital question to consider. Are you managing output, or are you managing outcomes? Brands that treat content as a volume game are effectively just gambling. It's time to stop gambling on generic reach and start investing in predictive precision to truly engineer predictable growth for your service brand. Remember, precision, not volume, is the ultimate growth lever. Audit your data, build a precision roadmap, and loop it all seamlessly into your sales process. Thank you so much for joining this explainer today. I want to leave you with this final thought. If you strip away your branding right now, is your content actually driving your industry's conversation, or is it just adding to the noise? It's time to decide.